In this video, we are going to talk about geometric sequences in series. So we've already talked about arithmetic sequences in series, which are linear functions. Now we're going to talk about a geometric sequence, which is when there's a common ratio between successive terms. So we're thinking about arithmetic sequence. Could put a little note here. If we're doing an arithmetic sequence, we have a common difference where we're adding or subtracting. When we're talking about a geometric sequence, we're going to have a common ratio, which is when we're multiplying by a common value. So for example, if we look at A, if I'm going from 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, I'm multiplying by 2, so my common ratio would be 2. Now in B, it's a little bit harder, but if I just look at the numbers, so 5, 15, 45, I'm multiplying by 3. Then if you notice, they're alternating positive and negative 3. So actually what's happening is I'm multiplying by negative 3 to get negative 15, and then I multiply by negative 3 again to get positive 45. So my common ratio is, these look like multiplication instead of x's. So my common ratio is going to be negative 3. Now C is even a little trickier. So if I'm going from 27 to 9 to 3 to 1 to 1/3, it doesn't look like I'm multiplying by something, but again, my rule has to be multiplication. So if I look, it looks like I'm dividing by 3, dividing by 3, dividing by 3. Well, if I'm dividing by 3, that's the same as multiplying by 1/3. So my common ratio for this one is going to be 1/3. So keep in mind when your numbers are getting smaller, you're probably multiplying by a fractional value. Now, a trick to figure out what your common ratio is you can always take your second term and divide it by your first term. Or you could take your third term and divide it by your second term. So kind of keep that in mind if you were ever not sure, like in this last one, you could do 9 divided by 27 and you would get 1/3. And then to check, you could do 3 divided by 9 and you would also get 1/3. So that's always a kind of a little trick. Take that second term divided by that first term and then check it with the third and the second or any other consecutive terms, and that'll tell you what your common ratio is. So just like with arithmetic sequences, with a geometric sequence, we have a first term that's A1, and we have a common ratio that's R. So just like with arithmetic, we're going to have a recursive formula. And so we always state our A1 term, and then our next term is always our previous term, now times our common ratio. So remember with arithmetic, it was plus D, now we're doing times R. And so this is our explicit formula for geometric. And again, our A1 is that first term. Our AN is that nth term. So whatever term we're trying to find. N is that term number. And then R is that common ratio. So again, we talked about arithmetic sequences are linear versus geometric sequences are exponential, I mean we're multiplying. So when our n value is going to increase by a constant value each time. All right, so let's put our formula to the test. So it says find the 15th term of the geometric sequence whose first term is 20 and the common ratio is 1.05. So what are things that I know? I want to find when n is 15. I know that A1 is 20, and I know that my common ratio is 1.05. So I'm going to use my explicit formula. And again, you will get these formulas, so you don't need to memorize them. You just need to be able to recognize which one is which. So if I want to find the 15th term, I'm going to plug in 20 for A1. I'm going to plug in 1.05 for R, and I'm going to plug in 15 for N. And I can just type that in my calculator, and it'll give me that my 15th term is 39.6. All right, similarly in number 2, they want us to find the 12th terms. They want me to find A12. But they only tell me the first 3 terms of the sequence. So from this, I can deduce that A1 is 5. I can see that to go from 5 to 15 and 15 to 45, I'm multiplying by 3. So I know my common ratio is 3. So to find A12, I would use my explicit formula. So A1 times R to the 12 minus 1. And I would get 885,735. All right, now this one's a little bit trickier Now they're telling me that the fourth term of the geometric sequence is 12. And the seventh term is 324. All right, so I know that if I have the seventh term, that would be the fourth term times r to the third power. And we kind of know that from this sequence up here, that if this is my first term, second term, third term, fourth term, I'd find it by doing a1 times r to the third power. Because again, it's always n minus 1. So I know that 324 would equal 12 times r to the third power. So I'm going to divide by 12. And so I know 27 would equal r to the third power. So I'm going to take the cubed root of both sides. And so I'll get that my r, or my common ratio, is 3. So given that, I can now find my a1, which is what I want to find next. So I can use either term, either my fourth or my seventh. I'm going to use the fourth because the numbers are a little smaller. So I'm going to have 12 equals a1 times 3 to the 4 minus 1 power. So a1 times 3 to the third power. So a1 times 27. So to get a1 alone, I'm going to divide by 27. And so my a1 is going to be 4/9. And so they want me to write my explicit and my recursive formula. Okay. Ran a little bit out of room here, but that's okay. So my explicit formula is an equals a1 times r to the n minus 1. So that means it's going to equal 4/9 times 3 to the n minus 1. And so that would be my explicit formula. My recursive formula, we state what a1 is, so that's 4/9. And then I say the next term is the previous term times r, which would be times 3. And so those would be my two formulas for this situation. All right, number 4, it says how many terms are in this geometric sequence. So let's think about what I know. I know a1 is 2. I know an is 1,458, but I don't know what n is. So I'm going to use my explicit formula. And I'm going to plug in everything I do know to solve for what n is. Now, to figure out what r is, I need to think about how do I go from 2 to 6 to 18. And so I can see that my r is multiplying by 3. So if I use my explicit formula, 1,458 is going to equal 2 times 3 to the n minus 1 power. So first I'm going to do is divide by 2 because I can't do 2 times 3 because 3 is being raised to the n minus 1 power. So I'm going to have 729 equals 3 to the n minus 1 power. Now, anytime we have a variable in our exponent, we're going to have to use logs. So I'm going to take the log of both sides. And so what that's going to do is I'm going to have log of 729 equals n minus 1 times the log of 3. I want to get this n minus 1 alone, so I'm going to divide by the log of 3. So I'm going to have the log of 729 over the log of 3 is equal to n minus 1. Now I'm going to add 1, and so I would get that n is the log of 729 over the log of 3 plus 1. When I type that in my calculator, I would actually get 7. So that means my n is equal to 7. So there's 7 terms in this sequence. In 5, they're telling us that x minus 3, x, and 3x plus 4 are our first 3 terms. And they want us to find the possible values of x. So I'm going to need to solve for x. So I need to keep in mind that I know my common ratio would be a2 divided by a1 or a3 divided by a2. So I can use this proportion to help me solve. So I'm going to do a2 divided by a1 is equal to a3 divided by a2. And then I'm going to cross multiply. And when I do that, I'm going to get x times x is x squared. And on this side, I'm going to have 3x plus 4 times x minus 3. So I'm going to need to multiply that out. So I'm going to have x squared equals 3x squared minus 5x minus 12. But it's a quadratic, so I need it equal to 0. So I'm going to end up with 2x squared minus 5x minus 12. So I need to factor this. So if I have 2x squared, I know that my first two terms have to be x and 2x. Now I have to think about things that multiply to negative 12, and then I have to check it to make sure my insides add to negative 5. So Let's try -4 and +3. So that would give me -8 and +3, which would give me -5. So that means I'm going to get solutions of 4 and -3/2. Now in this case, either of those could work. So I know that those are both of my possible values of x. Notice they say values, so that kind of gives us a hint there's going to be more than one. All right, next we're going to look at geometric series, which is really the sum of a geometric sequence. So again, anytime you see the word series, you want to think about it as it's the sum of the sequence. So if I was going to find the sum of a geometric sequence, the first would be a1, and then it'd be a1 times r plus a1 times r squared plus a1 times r cubed, so on and so forth, plus a1 times r to the n minus 1. Now they're saying, how would you represent r times the sequence? So it'd be r times a1 plus a1 times r squared plus a1 times r cubed plus a1 times r to the fourth, so on and so forth, plus a1 to r times n. So then if I do s, the sum minus the sum times r, I'm going to have really just a1 minus a1 to the r to the n. Because if you look at this, if I subtract this guy from this guy, I can see that I have a1 minus nothing, but I have a1 times r, and then I have a1 times r squared, and I have a1 times r cubed. I assume I'd have a1 times r to the fourth. I'd have a1 times r to the n minus 1, because that would come right before n. So the only thing I'm going to have left is a1 and this should have said a1, sorry. a1 times r to the n minus 1. And it's minus because we're subtracting. Now, this is just showing you where the formula comes from. You wouldn't necessarily need to know this, but I'll show you that if you were to factor out an Sn, I would have 1 minus r. And if I were to factor out an a1, I'd have 1 minus r to the nth power. So to solve for just the sum, I would divide by 1 minus r. So my sum formula would be 1 minus r to the n. This needs to be in big parentheses. All over 1 minus r. So again, this is the formula you're going to get. You need to be able to recognize that this is the sum of a geometric sequence. So how can we use this formula? So let's say they give us a sum like this and evaluate the sum. So I know this is a geometric sequence because it's in the formula of a1 times r to some power. So that's how I know it's geometric. So what do I know from this sequence? I know that if I plug in 1 for I would get 4 times 0.3. So I know that my a1 is 1.2. I also know that my r is that 0.3. And I know that my number of terms is 12 based on this number on top. So if I'm going to try to find the sum, I am going to plug into my formula. So 1.2 times 1 minus 0.3 to the 12th power all over 1 minus 0.3. And I can plug that in my calculator to find my sum. So my sum would be 1.714. All right, let's apply this idea to some word problems. So it says, centuries ago, the inventor of a game of chess was to be rewarded by the king. The inventor asked for the payments as follows. Place 1 grain of rice in the first square of the chessboard, 2 grains in the second, 4, then 8, and so on and so forth to fill all 64 squares. Then pay me the equivalent of the total grains of rice in gold coins. So what kind of sequence is this? So if I see it's going 1, 2, 4, 8, so on and so forth, I can see that I have a common ratio of 2, so I know that it's a geometric sequence. So when would they exceed 1,000 grains? So I want to use my explicit formula and plug in 1,000. So I know my first term is 1, my r is 2, and I have to find out when my n would be, what my n would be. So if I divide by 1, it's just going to be 1,000 equals 2 to the n minus 1. Then again, I have a variable in my exponent, so I'm going to take the log of both sides. And so I'm going to get log of 1,000 equals n minus 1 times the log of 2. So I have the log of 1,000 divided by the log of 2 equals n minus 1. So I'm going to add 1. So my n would equal the log of 1,000 divided by the log of 2 plus 1. And so then I can put that in my calculator. And so you get 10.966. So on the 11th square, it would exceed 1,000. How many grains would be on the last square? So my last square, they said, was 64. So I want to figure out how many grains would be on the 64th square. So that means it'd be 9 times 9.223. And then you're going to see this little E18. That means times 10 to the 18th power. All right, the last question says, how many grains of rice are placed on the board? So now we're trying to find the total sum that was placed on the board. And this is a geometric. So we're going to do A1 times 1 minus r to the n all over 1 minus r. So I know that my A1 is 2. I know that my r is my A1 is 1, I'm sorry. And then my r is 2. And then there are 64 spots on the board, so that's my n. And so I'm going to get 1.845 E19, so that means times 10 to the 19th power, so that's scientific notation. All right, this last one is talking about a flag losing color. So it says, assume the flag flying in front of LT loses 5% of its color. So if it's losing 5%, keep in mind that means it's keeping 95% or 0.95. We'll leave it as 95%. So keeping 95% because we want to keep it track of how much it's keeping, really not how much it's losing. Each month due to fading. So what amount of color does the flag have when it's new? Well, when it's new, it has 100% of its color. After 1 month, we would keep 95%. Or again, that's 0.95. So I would do 100 times 0.95, and after month 1, it would have 95%. Then I'd multiply 95% times 0.95, and month 2, it would have 90.25%. Then I'd multiply that by 0.95, and the third month, it would have 85.7375%. So then how much color would be left after 12 months? So let's make a formula now rather than just keep going down. So my A1 would be 100%. It's keeping 95% of its color each time. So if I were finding how much color it would have after 12 months, it would be 56.88%. If the school kept flying the flag until it has 25% of its color, how many months would it be able to fly the flag? So I want 25 to be my output, 100 again is my A1, and now I'm solving for n. So I'm going to divide by 100. 0.25 equals 0.95 times n minus 1. I'm going to take the log of both sides. So I'm going to have the log of 0.25 equals n minus 1 times the log of 0.95. So just like the one we did above, first I'm going to divide by the log of 0.95. And then I'm going to end up adding 1 after that. So n is going to equal the log of 0.25 divided by the log of 0.95 plus 1. And so it'll be 28.027 months.